Hello YouTube, Dave here again. I thought I would do another pickups video because I've added a couple of different things to my various collections, including some Holy Grail items that I never actually thought I would ever find out in the wild. So pretty excited for a lot of these things that I have here, so we'll just go through them. To save the big thing obviously for last. But the first thing that I thought I would show off is just an addition to my music collection. So this was actually purchased way back on Black Friday. It was the only thing that I actually ended up getting during that period. Like here in Canada, they sort of have Black Friday throughout like the entire weekend. But the sales here are pretty much the same as regular sales throughout the year. There's nothing necessarily too extreme as far as those goes. In fact, the thing that I ended up getting, actually my fiance bought it for me, was actually at full price. So the only thing that we bought on Black Friday wasn't even a Black Friday sale item. But it is the Cradle of Filth album Cryptorania, I think that's, or Cryptorana. I'm probably pronouncing that entirely wrong, but this was their latest album. It came out back actually in 2017, but I never actually had a chance to pick it up. It was one of those things that whenever I would go to the record store, or the music store in the mall, the only times they had it is when I didn't have the money for it, and then when I did have the money, it was always gone. So they finally got it restocked, and my fiance just grabbed it and immediately bought it for me. And I haven't listened to the whole thing yet. I've gotten through, I think, the first 5 or 6 songs, but it is, I mean, Cradle of Filth is my favorite band, but this album really sort of feels like almost the same kind of style as like way back when they did their Midian album, and I've loved everything that they've put out so far, but this is actually just really incredible album, so finally glad to have it in my collection and to finally have the opportunity to start listening to it. Alright, so we got that. The next thing is sort of just a collector's item that I picked up along with my daughter. We were doing Christmas shopping for my fiance, and in the CD store, so actually the same place, they had this. Just NES coasters. So these are like just coasters that look like old NES cartridges. So a while back I'd actually shown off some Super NES cartridges, or not cartridges, but Super NES coasters that looked like the box art from Super Mario World, Super Mario Kart, The Legend of Zelda, and Super Metroid. So this has 8 different ones in here, and obviously they're not very thick. My only concern with this actually, and I probably won't find out right away, because I think what I might actually do is just allow my fiance to wrap this up and have it as like a part of like my Christmas sock or something like that. But on the back it shows a few different ones that aren't shown on the front, and I'm hoping that these aren't random. I'm hoping they're just double-sided, because I would definitely prefer that, because at the very least I want a Legend of Zelda one, and if I get that, I don't really care what the other ones are, although having like Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3, and Duck Hunt, Excite Bike, all games that I used to play a ton of when I was a kid, it would be great to have like all of those. So when I finally do get a chance to open it, I'll see if they are double-sided or not. I don't plan on using these as coasters. I just plan on using these more as like decorative items, like the Super Nintendo ones that I got as well. But again, these were really, really cool, and they were only about 10 bucks. So I thought it was well worth picking up. And they also look like the old like NES style boxes from the late 80s, early 90s. Alright, up next we have issue number 3 of Rick and Morty versus Dungeons and Dragons. So there was actually a pretty significant gap between like issues 2 and 3. But finally glad to have this in my collection. This one's interesting. This is like where Jerry joins the party, and unlike all the previous ones where Rick's sort of been, you know, the driving force and everyone thought it was kind of lame, you know, Jerry joins, and it ends up like he ends up being like this D&D savant kind of thing. It's also kind of cool that they have stuff like Dungeon Master from the animated series actually like depicted in here. And they have him like turn into like Christopher Perkins, which is kind of cool. They also have Dungeon Master turn into like Satine Phoenix, and I'm just not a huge fan of her. Personally, nothing against her. It's just her style doesn't really mesh with what I'm interested in watching. But they have her turn into that and then back into Dungeon Master. It's just kind of a weird sequence, but it is still pretty cool. And if you haven't been following the series or haven't been aware of it, I do really recommend checking it out. They are going to be doing a trade for it as well. I think that comes out in January or February, so if you want to wait for that, you can certainly do that as well. Alright, next item is the Dungeon Master screen for the Waterdeep Dragon Heist book. So this is something I don't know exactly when it came out, to truth be told, because it was something that was advertised on the Gale Force 9 website, and it looked like it was supposed to coincide with the release of the adventure book back in September. But none of the stores here in my province, in Nova Scotia, at least the ones in the city area that I frequent, ever got copies of these in. This was actually the first time I actually even saw one listed. So I had it set aside for me and thought I would pick it up right away. So I'll do an opening and sort of show everything off here as well in a separate video. So not in this one, but I will do its own separate opening video and go from there. All right. So those were the majority of the things that I picked up. However, like I said, I did manage to add some Holy Grail items to my collection. These are things that I'd never seen in the wild before, and I was never expecting to see in the wild. But as soon as I saw them listed on like a picture on Facebook that one of the stores had them, I just commented right away and got them to set them aside for me. So I actually haven't even opened them yet, like to look at them. But what we have is the Moldvay D&D basic rules. And I'm hoping that the hole punching is supposed to be there. Like I said, I haven't actually looked at them yet. I haven't opened them up yet. I'll probably do a separate video for them. I suspect that they were. Let me just actually, why don't I do that right now? Just tape shut. This is, like I said, I haven't even looked at the actual contents yet. So let's just have a look. And yeah, it doesn't look like. Cool. Yeah, the holes don't seem to interfere with anything. So if they weren't intentional, then at least they did them well. But this is something that's just really, really awesome to have. I never ever thought that I would have this in my collection, so this is absolutely unreal to have. So just really, really cool. And like I said, I'm not sure about the hole punch. I almost feel like that was done after the fact, but even still, just super cool to have this finally in my collection. So we got the Moldvay basic rules, but we also got the expert rules to go along with it. So I have the basic and the expert rules now in my collection, along with the D&D Rules Cyclopedia, which is essentially the Menser version. So really, the only thing I'm missing at this point, and if I can find this, I would consider my collection to be basically complete. And that would be the Eric Holmes basic that predated, or that was done alongside of first edition AD&D. But just really, really awesome to finally have these in my collection. Love the artwork with like the heroes fighting off this dragon, and then you see like a wizard sort of scrying on them. Just really, really awesome. But I snatched these up, or I commented as soon as I saw the post go up. I just happened to refresh my Facebook feed. It was right there, and it's like, oh, you got to set those aside for me. There was also a first edition AD&D Player's Handbook with the alternate cover, so the updated cover that they did. And I was tempted to get it, but somebody had already claimed that. Before I got to the store, they had asked to have that set aside, so I never got a chance to pick that up. They did actually have some other cool stuff as well. The store is Strange Adventures in Halifax, so they also had like the World of Greyhawk box set, which was really tempting. They were only charging $40 for it, but where I was paying $20 each for these, I didn't want to overdo it, so I kind of left that one sitting there. But these were the things that I really, really wanted to have. So just amazing to finally have these in my collection. Just so cool. I can't wait to start reading them and just to sort of go through everything. So anyway, that was it. That was my pickups as of the middle of December 2018. I will probably have some more things to show off at the end of December. But basically, I guess I should give a little bit of update while I'm here as well. So, as of the time that I'm recording this, I think it's the 13th. It's the 14th, sorry, of December, the day that I'm recording this. So, as of the 21st, that'll be the last day that I will be home until the new year. So we will be, our family will be going down to visit like my fiance's parents over the Christmas holidays. So essentially next week I will try to have some videos up. I have a couple of Starfinder things I want to do videos for, as well as the DM screen. I will have a video up for that as well. But from basically the 21st until we get into like January 3rd, there's probably not going to be any videos on my channel during that time. So I'll be spending that time, you know, doing like the holiday stuff with family. I might see if I can have a couple of videos recorded and in the can to put out during that time, but most likely there'll be a week or so where there's just nothing being done. But that being said, I'll try to have some stuff out for you guys next week. Anyway, thank you very much once again for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Take care.